Oh my God, Valve is making everything a Steam Deck apparently. Um, let's learn. Let's react. Let's do the thing, you know.
Okay, I don't think that you actually truly understand just it's beautiful. The Steam Deck is a rare exception in today's market where it feels like you're actually getting what you paid for and it's worth the value. Meanwhile, Nintendo are releasing a $70 spin-off game for
Nintendo already catching strays. Already catching strays. Nintendo, you're cooked. Nintendo, you're done. Nintendo. Nintendo. I don't even need to hear what this man is about to say about a key card, but I'm willing to bet it is exactly what I would say about them releasing this whack-ass Power clone that's not going to be even like remotely good. And the fact that they're charging $70 for this game when you don't even get a real game, you don't get a physical copy of the game, you get a key card for the game. So you go to the store and you think you're about to get an actual game copy. And to the parents that don't know no better, they're going to be like, yeah, we got you the game, kiddo. And the kid that don't know better is going to be like, yay, I got a physical game. And then Nintendo's going to be like, so yeah, we're done with the Switch and none of your games are going to work. That's what's going to happen. This is not my Nintendo rant. That's another video.
Pokemon that's on a key card of all things. Did you hear that? It's on a key card, a hollow piece of plastic.
It's on a key card.
Which is why I look at this thing every once in a while to just remind myself that it's gonna be okay. And for the longest time, I've just been like on my hands and knees, like, please, Mr. Newell, give me a Steam Deck Mini. That's all I ask. Like, can you comprehend just how game-changing it would be to have this inside of this? And with the latest news that we got last week, it's happening. Valve basically just took a megalodon-sized turd and dropped it on top of everybody. And
we have become one, Mr. Sir. We are one person. We have fused together. The viewer cannot see you and they cannot see me. We have become one.
I mean that in the best way possible. 3 new pieces of hardware, all carving out their own lane, clearly indicating that Valve have learned from their previous mistakes with their first renditions of hardware, which was kind of rough, and now they're here to just steal the spotlight. The Steam Machine is literally a modern-day rendition of a GameCube. It is almost the same size as this lunchbox, except the internals are that of a powerful mini PC. Valve
hold on. I wanna wait a minute. I wanna say something. Because I was there for this. And I'm gonna say something. Steam was ahead of his time with this. Steam, I want to say congratulations for this, even though it failed miserably because it was so laggy. Like, it was really, really rough. This guy had the right idea to explain. It was extremely rough, right? I still think that Steam was the precursor to everything that VR is. I'm telling you. Steam tried it first. Everybody else came second. Okay? Good job, Steam, for sticking with this idea, for not giving up on your hopes and dreams, and not letting your dreams stay dreams. You guys are rocking it right now.
And now they're here to just steal the spotlight. The Steam Machine is literally a modern-day rendition of a GameCube. It is almost the same size as this lunchbox, except the internals are that of a powerful mini PC. Valve are claiming that this cube can give you 6 times the performance of a Steam Deck, and then on top of that, you can expect around 4K 60 FPS in most of your games, but obviously it's going to depend on the settings, and that's kind of like a really generic statement, so I wouldn't really listen to that too much.
This is why I'm not gonna rain on this parade. But I'm warning everybody that are watching my videos. I am warning you all. If you are expecting to get the game, the Steam Cube, if you are expecting it to run at those graphical sets for all your games, or even most of your games, you are going to be sadly mistaken. By now, I have a sort of a catchphrase, I think I like to call it. I might even put it on the shirt. Just get a PC.
Way it will use
Just
FSR
get
to
one.
boost the frame rate and should give you an enjoyable experience on this little tiny little cube form factor. Where's my GameCube? This is literally, we're getting this again. The Steam controller is by far the most predictable out of the three. It's, you know, as people are saying, literally just a Steam Deck cut in half without the screen, glued together. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the Steam Deck's D-pad, but everything else about the trackpads and the controls themselves are pretty dang solid, and I think this is going to be my go-to controller if it lives up to the reputation of the deck. And finally, the device that has been the focal point of the entire handheld scene, Valve's new VR headset called the Frame. And no, we're not just hyped
The
about this thing having
Frame.
extra buttons on the controllers. We are hyped because this, like, 1984
Okay.
dystopian
Okay, look at the Frame. And when I first saw the Frame, you know the first thing that came to my head? The very, very first thing that came to my head when I first saw this was Ready Player One. Ready Player One was the very first thing I saw when I saw this VR headset. And Steam is cooking with this. Steam, I may not agree with your PC console thing, your console PC thing, but I agree with this. I support this wholeheartedly. And let me tell you why. Because VR sucks. VR, every experience I've had with VR has been not what I thought VR was going to be. And quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Sword Art Online MMO. Hello? Am I the only one that wants a Sword Art Online MMO? Maybe it may be a Steam exclusive. I don't know if that's a thing. Can Steam have exclusives? I don't know anything. I'm just a consumer. Wishing, hoping, and praying to get a Sword Art Online MMO, an actual Sword Art Online MMO, not a Sword Art Online game where inside of the game you're in an MMO in VR. No, I want to put on the headset that looks just like this. I want to put on the Steam headset and I want to go log in. And I just wanted to go straight to Sword Art Online. You know what I mean? That's what I want. But anyways, when I first looked at this, I thought Ready Player One. If you feel that way, put a W in the comment section.
looking headset is going to be running Steam OS without the need of another PC. It's going to have the ability to
That's
run
dope.
the operating system
That's
completely by itself. And when you check
By
to see the
itself.
specs of it, you'll see
ARM. Do you see that? Do you see Okay. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 with ARM. Okay. For the people that don't know what ARM is, ARM is I don't want to say specifically, but it's making all these handhelds go crazy. It is the sole reason we have so many different handheld game systems out there. Like, I mean, think about your favorite non-Nintendo, non-PlayStation handheld right now, and it is running an ARM chip. It has an ARM chip in there. So, wait a minute. I think I know where this guy's going. Holy moly, this is happening. I'm not even gonna talk anymore. I'm gonna let this guy explain it because I know exactly where he's going.
that it's built with an ARM-based chip. This is the same chip that's used in
Let him
a
know.
ton of different handhelds across the scene. The Ein Thor, the Odin 2, the Conquer Pocket.
Hold on, the Odin 2 and the Ein Thor, they're pretty good. They're not Steam Decks, but they're pretty freaking good.
Fit, the new Retroid Pocket 6 that's coming out, all of these handhelds are using a similar style chip, which means that Valve are taking Steam OS, the thing that's in a Steam Deck, and teaching it how to run on a chip that is also installed in all of these devices. And they're doing this through their own Duolingo translation layer that's converting things.
FEX. We love FEX. Okay, for those of you who don't know who FEX is or what FEX is, now I'm gonna take it back to who FEX is. FEX is that Stewie in the background that don't talk a lot, but he know a lot. FEX is that girl in gym class that you think won't climb that rope, but she climbs the rope and touches the ceiling and slides back down like a boss, okay? FEX is that one guy in French class that just already knows how to say omelette du fromage, okay? FEX will get you from point A to point B to point C to point all of them without any hesitation. FEX is that one person you can call on your phone and be like, yo, I don't understand this. Can you translate it for me? And not only will FEX translate it for you, okay? Look, not only will FEX translate it for you, FEX will also take out the mumbo. It will trim it for you to where you don't need the mumbo jumbo in your operating system. And it recompresses it and sends it on its way to make things happen without any issues. Like if you guys don't understand what I'm talking about, I need you to just go Google what FEX does. Okay? All right? We love FEX. If you're a handheld gamer, you love FEX. You have to love FEX. And if you don't love FEX yet, you will.
And they're doing this through their own Duolingo translation layer that's converting things from PC games over to ARM. Speaking of Duolingo, I've been trying to learn Spanish.
The thing is, ARM doesn't really understand certain languages, okay? FEX is a translator for ARM. You don't get ARM without using FEX for the time being. So ARM is like, how can I say this? ARM is like, I want to say, ARM is, I don't know if ARM is Kakashi. ARM is Kakashi, but without Team 7 being as strong as it is, I don't think Kakashi would have his fame past Team 7. You know what I'm saying? That probably was a bad analogy. But FEX is that guy, okay? Stop playing with FEX. Let him live.
From PC games over to ARM. Speaking of Duolingo, I've been trying to learn Spanish for the past couple of years, and the only thing that I know how to say in this context is no quiero vivir mi vida porque no tengo un Steam Deck Mini. Essentially, Valve are
somebody get this
establishing
guy a Steam Deck Mini.
consistent and reliable way to run SteamOS and Steam games in a market and world that's already flooded with these ARM-based chips. This is huge because PC gaming on Android is already happening through apps like Game Hub Lite or Game Native, but if you've used these things at all, you'll know it's a...
Game Native is amazing, but it's choppy. Game Native needs help. Game Native is... I've only used Game Native. I haven't used the other one. But it needs... It's amazing, but it needs help.
Little bit rough around the edges and not perfect, and Valve are just coming in here and saying, hold on a second, let's just make this easier for you. And once SteamOS cleanly runs on ARM with Valve support behind it, this doesn't just stay locked and contained with the frame. I'm not sure how it's going to go down, but in an ideal world that I think is going to happen sooner than we think, we'll be able to log in easily through our Steam accounts, download whatever Steam game that we want, and hopefully run it pretty smoothly on an Android device. And don't just take my word for it. Valve themselves have already expressed their excitement that I share with.
I just had an idea. You know how Xbox was like, this is an Xbox, and that is an Xbox, and this is an Xbox, and that is an Xbox. Your TV is an Xbox. Your toaster is an Xbox. Everything's a freaking Xbox. I think Xbox was trying to do what Steam is already doing. I don't think you guys understand how important it is that ARM, FEX, and SteamOS is making all this emulation, for lack of a better word, because that's what it seems like it is. It's just a masterclass in emulation, right? Like we're literally gonna be able to log in on a door. Just log in and then download directly to the door with SteamOS. Everything's a Steam machine. Everything's a Steam Deck. Everything is now a Steam Deck. I think Xbox was trying to get here before Steam did, and it just failed.
Don't just take my word for it. Valve themselves have already expressed their excitement that I share with them. This is already fully open source, so you could download it and run SteamOS.
Oh.
Now that we will be releasing SteamOS for ARM, you could have gaming on any ARM device. So yes, it's not just me telling you that we might just get the chance to turn whatever we want to into a Steam
Into a
Deck,
Steam
so long as it's
Deck.
got the power. Now, if you don't think a mini Steam Deck would be sick, I'm gonna force you to reconsider right now.
Imagine a Steam Deck without the weight. Imagine a Steam Deck without the heaviness. Oh, a Steam Deck Mini would go
Steam
crazy.
Deck would be sick. I'm gonna force you to reconsider right now. This right here is my Ein Thor playing Steam games locally. I'm not streaming this. I installed this on the device through apps that are able to give us just a small taste of what the future might actually hold for us. Software and apps like GameHub Lite and Game Native let you log into Steam, find a game, and install it right there on the device. And I gotta say,
That's
as
crazy.
somebody who's been playing Steam games since 2011, this scratches a very unique itch of mine. I obviously adore the Steam Deck, and it is like the handheld that you're going to buy if you just want one handheld that can do pretty much everything and will give you
Not Nintendo catching another stray. Not Nintendo catching another stray. And this time it wasn't even me. It wasn't even me. It wasn't even me. I didn't do it. I'm just reacting to this video. This video, from my perspective, Nintendo, is just a reaction. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Okay? Don't come at me. It was not me. Look, why you Game Boy Advance on the Steam Deck, Nintendo? Why is your Game Boy Advance on the Steam Deck, Nintendo? Can you answer me this question? Because you're terrible. You're terrible. Why won't you re-release the Game Boy Advance? Why won't you recreate the Game Boy Advance? No, don't give it a dual screen. Don't give it 3D. Just recreate the Game Boy Advance with better graphics. Why won't you do that? Why won't you give us recreations of the old school Pokemon games? Why won't you give us Gen 1 through 4 again? Why won't you give us Black and White 3? Why won't you give us a better Crystal version? Because while Crystal version was amazing, it literally sucked. Okay, I love it, but I hated it at the same time. There were, especially when you look back on Crystal version and everything that was not in the game. Oh, don't get me started. Okay, why won't you do this, Nintendo? Why do we have to have fan-made games that fix your games for you, Nintendo? I need answers. I promise you, the Nintendo rant is about to go crazy.
Why, if you just want one handheld,
Y'all need
that
to
can
just
do
wait for
pretty
that
much
video.
everything and will give you top of the line experience. Like, yes, you get a Steam Deck. A lot of people use Steam Decks as like their main source for gaming. They don't even have any PCs or anything else. But for my specific use case, I almost exclusively play indie games on this machine. And I don't know if you've ever held a Steam Deck before, but like this thing, it is a chunky boy, which obviously helps in the ergonomics, and it's extremely comfortable to use, but it is a bit of an anchor that sometimes even putting it inside of my backpack can feel a bit much. It's not a handheld that I find myself wanting to leave the house with, but instead a handheld that I just want to stay on the couch with. Bars. And this right here is the gap that
was
a
a bar.
Steam Deck Mini would perfectly fill. Fitting it inside of your pocket might be a bit of a stretch to aim for, but having something smaller and less intrusive to play these fantastic Steam games on the go has been a dream of mine ever since I've had a Steam account. These smaller types of form factors are actually why I fell in love with retro handhelds to begin with. They remind me so much of the Nintendo handhelds that I grew up with, which weren't the most comfortable devices. I mean, like, the DS Lite is literally just a rectangle and not the most comfortable thing, but all of these Nintendo consoles were designed with portability in mind for you to either keep it in your pocket or easily slip this into a bag. I'm using the Thor right now as my main example because it's a clamshell and my personal favorite candidate for what a mini Steam Deck should or could be. I can close this thing up without worrying about the screen, throw it in a bag, and have it on me for random gaming sessions whenever I'm out, and it doesn't feel super intrusive on my lifestyle. The crazy part is that with GameHub and Game Native, we're already scratching the surface
Look at
of
that.
this Steam DS concept, but it's nowhere near perfect right now. There's a limited amount of games that actually work, and even the ones that do work require some type of tinkering and for you to mess around with the settings for a good chunk of time. It's very far from being a seamless experience. But even with all of the tinkering and going into the settings, this undeniably feels magical. Any form factor, especially for me, one that looks like a 3DS, playing Steam games is such a sight to behold. It's just like that feeling I talked about in another video where I installed Steam on my mom's crappy work laptop so I could play Terraria anywhere on the go. It hits that same type of vein here. We've almost been conditioned to think of these Steam games to be bound by our PCs, but with the creation of the Steam Deck and now Steam OS for ARM, our world is slowly starting to open up. So instead of playing games right on my PC, I have the freedom to walk 3 steps onto the couch now.
But here's the thing with this situation. Even if you, okay, all right. Even if you don't like the size of the Steam Deck to play while you're walking around, to be honest, how many of us growing up actually played the Game Boy while we were walking around? And also, if you were up on your feet playing the Game Boy, 9 times out of 10, you were stationary. I don't know anyone that could walk across the street and play a Game Boy at the same time. I don't know anyone that could walk from your classroom to the recess area playing your Game Boy. No, you carried your Game Boy until you got to your destination and you took it out of your pocket or your backpack or your book bag or your purse and you played it sitting down or standing up in a circle. The Steam Deck is legendary. All of these games with ARM chips are about to take over. In my stream over on TikTok, digitamer_eno, please go follow me. In my stream, we always talk about like handheld gaming and emulation. And when I tell you that these ARM chips are about to expand, oh, it's about to be crazy. And just think, they don't have to sell these things for too much any longer. These things don't have to be a skyrocketed thing. If everybody just comes over and gets a Steam Deck, they don't have to sell them for that much money anymore. It's going to be crazy.
My PC, I have the freedom to walk 3 steps onto the couch now. Additionally, I find it really important to think about just how much extra value that this brings to any type of handheld. Whether it's your phone that's running Android or a retro handheld that you just bought or maybe bought a while ago, having the option to play Steam games efficiently and smoothly opens up an ocean of opportunities. It's going to be a disaster for our backlogs because, you know, with retro handhelds, we're already facing the problem.
Why is Nintendo catching so many strays? What? Maybe this guy feels like I feel. And also, I'm glad that Star Fox is right there because Nintendo, my biggest question to you is what the hell did you do to Star Fox? Where is Star Fox? Where is Star Fox? I'm going to ask it again. Where is Star Fox? Metroid is about to fall off. This new Metroid game you release is not doing well. So where is Star Fox? Your last saving grace, I promise, is Star Fox. It's not Mario, it's not Sonic, it's not Metroid. Your last saving grace is if you bring back Star Fox, the world will go crazy. But I don't mean just making him an extra. I mean bring back Star Fox in a new adventure, not the old adventures. Bring back Star Fox. Stop playing on my man's name, okay? Star Fox is my man. All right, he needs work. I'm tired of him sitting at home not getting work, okay? Bring back my man.
Of abundance where we don't even know what to play because there's just so many options. And then adding the Steam catalog on this just means we're never gonna finish any of our backlog, which is genuinely just a refreshing feeling in today's market, because most of these companies prefer to limit your options as a consumer, whether it's through like subscription pricing models or purposely locking down hardware and
Pokemon Lazarus is a fan-made game. It's a ROM hack. And it's Pokemon. Nintendo. I asked the question, why aren't you doing this?
software, you'll oftentimes just end up feeling more shackled by the thing that you just purchased than anything else. And thankfully, Valve are doubling down on the opposite approach. They're mentioning it as much as they can in their marketing that this is an open PC ecosystem. This man is just gunning for an extra yacht, dude. I am convinced. We don't know all the details yet. This is a lot of speculation, and like there's so many different routes that Steam games could take on these devices. Will we see an official Steam app that lets you download and install Steam games right there on your device? Or, you know, maybe Valve focus mostly on the frame and then publicly drop SteamOS for ARM and let the community do the rest of the heavy lifting. There's a lot to uncover here. You've got Valve engineers openly saying
That was Super Nintendo.
they see a ton of potential for ARM across handhelds, laptops, and whatever weird devices come next, but they're also being real about the fact that this isn't one clean path. They're experimenting in public. They're building this translation technology so that games can actually run on the ARM hardware, and they're talking about greasing the wheels to make SteamOS more reliable on a wider range of devices. But at the same time, they're admitting that today's ARM chips might not hit that true Steam Deck style performance that we'd all want and expect to see. And with how much emphasis they're putting on this technology, I think a lot of us are expecting the next Steam Deck or Steam Deck 2 to be an ARM-based chip. It's really important to lighten expectations.
For them to be putting this much time and effort into an ARM-based chip and communicating with ARM-based chips with FEX, I think that the Steam Deck 2 is going to be smaller, is going to be lighter, it's going to be faster, and it's going to be able to run with an ARM-based chip. And it's going to be freaking amazing. Nintendo, yeah, you're on the clock, buddy. You're about to be left behind. It's something that you started. It's crazy. Y'all better figure something out, man. This is gonna be wild. Oh, this is gonna be crazy. The future of gaming is Steam.
11 minutes at this point. And at the end of the day, Valve have even admitted that the frame is a wireless streaming headset first and foremost. They've built the hardware and software around the frame specifically. SteamOS for ARM won't be plug and play for every single handheld, and even with it being open source, there's still going to be a lot of headaches involving a lot of issues that I'm too much of an idiot to comprehend. It's not like Valve are coming in here with the intention of like, you've got a handheld that you got from China? You got this Chinese retro handheld? Let's put SteamOS on it. Every handheld gets SteamOS. The roadmap seems a little bit blurry, and it's going to depend on, how fast this hardware can catch up to whatever it is that Valve are doing, and, vice versa with their development on that translation layer, how efficient it is, what types of CPUs will work well. Maybe the newer releases that we've got in the gaming scene for retro handhelds will be enough, or maybe it won't be powerful enough. I don't know. A lot is up in the air, but either way, we're making a lot of progress just with the release of the frame. What we do know is that this software will get into the hands of the public. Valve have confirmed that it will be open source, and they're going to be giving us SteamOS on ARM, which honestly is perfect to me, because if you know anything about the SBC community, you know that there are some dedicated, hardworking people who love this stuff and are going to use whatever it is that Valve give them to create something magnificent. Ideally, if SteamOS becomes stable on ARM at scale, then potentially every Retroid, Ein, or Anbernic Android slab that gets released could have SteamOS on it, or be so easily thrown onto the device that you'll have, like I said, a mini Steam Deck. It's not going to happen overnight, but this does feel like just a big hurdle and roadblock has been lifted.
Did that
People
say
like
87
just a
frames?
big hurdle and
Dang, still
roadblock
song
has
runs
been lifted because of the
perfectly.
release of the frame, and that's why I've literally been
Oh.
yapping and rambling about this for so long. I am so hyped about this. I've been making videos and theorizing what a mini Steam Deck would be like for honestly since I got a Steam Deck, and I made a couple of videos about it, and now to see it come to fruition so soon
Damn, those
gets
FPSs
me
are up
Valve truly
there.
represents the duality of mankind. Like, on one side, they're responsible for in-game loot boxes and gambling, and then on the other side, they're just like pushing gaming forward and paving the way for handhelds and this open ecosystem. But with how much I love this new hardware, I don't know how much I can forgive them for
Look, look, man. Look, like, it's clear that Steam is trying to save gaming. It's clear.
what they're doing to Team Fortress 2.
We don't care about Team Fortress 2. Okay, look, man. It's so clear. It's so clear that well, maybe it's not clear. Maybe it's just something that I'm seeing. But I honestly think that Isaac OS is correct. I think that Steam, on one hand, is responsible for a lot of experimental stuff like loot boxes that we all don't like, right? Well, some of us don't mind it, some of us love it, but most of us don't like loot boxes, right? But I also think, and this is my final take on this video. I think Steam is really trying to save the gaming industry. Well, what is Steam saving the gaming industry from? From us not having access to the things that were made for us as the people, like emulation and saving games that are no longer on the market. Like, can you just imagine what it would be like to just get on your computer, download something, put it on the Steam Deck Mini, and walk out of your house? Like, we already have that with the Steam Deck, but I mean for everything, every single video game. Whether you buy them or you figure out a way to emulate, it'd be amazing for the gaming industry. Well, for the people, right? For us, for like the people that are the consumers, it'd be amazing for us. And Steam will be at the head of it. So imagine if a game comes out exclusively on Steam. I'd support it because Steam is out here actively thinking about us as the people. And to me, that's a huge deal. Anyways, please follow Isaac OS. I subscribed, I liked, and thank you, Isaac, for your input. And I will say, how.